mean?
I don't know that. Guys. I mean,
what's
a thousand
Hall of Fame other than being everywhere?
1,000 guys went from territory to territory. Very few are in the Hall of Fame. Only the top guys.
Are you missing what I'm saying?
No, I think it's not necessarily.
Territory, and they're not in it. But the point is, they weren't good enough to be in anything.
Okay,
That's why they weren't even good enough to be in one territory.
Okay, but they're not in the Hall of Fame, so I don't know what the point is. I mean, if you're trying to, if you're trying to say you should be in the Hall of Fame, and I think that there's an argument that you should, it's got nothing to, I don't think it's got much to do with the fact that you only worked in one territory. It just has to do with, whatever the ambiguous.
What does it have to do with?
Whatever the ambiguous standards different people have to what constitutes a Hall of Fame player. The same thing is in baseball. The same thing is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know. It's an abstract thing, and some people.
There's some standards, but you don't know what they are.
I think there's a standard in that. Jack Briscoe's in the Hall of Fame. A Ric Flair's in the Hall of Fame. A Dick Murdoch is not in the Hall of Fame. Maybe he should be in the Hall of Fame. Johnny Weaver is not in the Hall of Fame and probably should not be in the Hall of Fame. And then you just judge.
Well, who should be in the Hall of Fame? And why should he be in it?
As far as whoever the biggest stars of the era, the biggest draws of the era, the best wrestlers of the era. The same thing. Who should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Who should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame? Who should be in the? It's all subjective. I mean, there are no. I can say okay, you held the world title for 2.5 years, therefore you're in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it probably helps if you did, but that doesn't necessarily. It's not. There's nothing. It's not like it's a lock. I mean, it's whoever. I don't know. What would you determine to be a Hall of Famer? Who would you say should be in the Hall of Fame from your era? Who would you say? Who are Hall of Famers? Who are not Hall of Famers?
Nobody.
Nobody? Okay.
I don't care about the Hall of Fame.
Then I don't know what we're having a discussion if you don't care. You're trying to say this is the reason that you're not in. It's it's not because you didn't travel. It's got nothing to do with that. I don't really know.
Am I just stupid?
What?
Do you miss everything that I'm trying to say, or
no? You're missing what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say
you're not saying anything.
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, I am actually. I am saying. Okay, all right. I'm
trying to say to you that the Hall of Fame is absolutely worthless. The most important thing to me was to make money.
Okay, then why did you devote a whole chapter to in your book about it if it was absolutely worthless? About the Hall of Fame.
To point out the fact.
I mean, you wrote about it in your book, and you said we didn't leave, and this is why I'm not in the Hall of Fame. I don't know that that's why you're not in. I don't know.
I wanted to be in it in the book.
What?
Did I say that I wanted to be in it in the book?
No, but you devoted a chapter in the book to it, so obviously it hit you, and it hit a nerve.
Chapter, Dave.
What?
How many pages is the chapter?
4 or 5 pages.
Oh, that's a lot, isn't it?
Well, it's in there.
Good God. Listen, it's just impossible to talk to you.
Okay.
You're like an awful lot of people that I've known in my lifetime, and I guess I must be like some people you've known.
Yeah.
I did it, and you wish you could.
Well, actually, that's not the case. I never wanted to be a wrestler. That's not much of a point anyway. I mean, the point is just you're saying that people like Flair and like Hogan and Savage who are very, very successful in this industry, and you're saying you could find 1,000 guys. You're saying you could find 1,000.
And they're still working.
What?
That's why I'm retired and they're still working.
Well, they can't give up the ghost. It's not like they didn't make money in the business. Savage made a ton of money. Flair made a ton of money. Hogan made more money than Hogan made more money than anyone probably, except for Vince McMahon.
Have you got it yet?
What?
Specifically.
Have I got what?
Not you. I don't care about you.
Okay, you're saying that
you mentioned Flair. Has he got it yet? Has he still got money or not?
I don't know. I just know that he made money. If he spent so much, that's his lifestyle. But the bottom line is, Ric Flair's made money in this business for, 30 years, 25 years?
If you read the book, you also know that when he was going to get $750,000 because he was a world champion, I told the people at the doggone TBS, the suits down there, I said, if I would have known you'd be so damn stupid, I would have made myself champion.
Okay, but the thing is in that period in the 90s when you're talking about that, there was a standard, unfortunately, the wrestling salaries, like all sports salaries, escalated. And there's a reason they escalated in wrestling because of competition. And
no, they didn't escalate because of competition.
Yeah, they did.
Were you in the business, or are you just talking about it like you think you know something?
Well, I know something about that. I know enough to know that.
I was there.
Okay, I know. Okay, you were there, and I also know that if you were to say to Ric Flair, Ric Flair, we'll keep you, and you're going to make $100,000 a year, he was going to go to work for Vince McMahon. That's what it took to keep the guys. And I mean, that's just what competition did to the business. It made to keep, if TBS wanted to keep its wrestlers, if Bill Watts wanted to keep his wrestlers, if anyone wanted to keep their wrestlers, they had to pay something at least close to what Vince McMahon was paying, or the guys, all your stars are going to go to Vince McMahon. And once all your stars leave, you're in trouble. I mean, that's what.
Know enough to know enough.
I don't know enough to know enough. That's what killed.
Couldn't take all the people, no matter what you do.
Yeah, but he could certainly.
He's limited as to how many people he can take.
That's right, but he could certainly take.
Are you interviewing me, or are you interviewing yourself?
Okay, but he could certainly take Ric Flair and Sting. If those guys.
Let him have Sting. Let him have them both.
Okay, but with all of your, if everyone sees a one-way ticket where all the stars get to a certain point and then they go to another promotion, the promotion that loses the stars, the people are going to lose their faith in the promotion.
Who was Flair before he became an Anderson?
That's the point. He's had 25 years since.
Wait a minute. Who was Flair before he became one of the Andersons?
Well, he was Ric Flair working for Vern Gagne, and then he came to the Carolinas. He did very well, and then after the Carolinas, he became a world champion. And
David?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I know that Ric Flair's been a big star for 25 years.
I know it, but I said, who was he before? He started out as
what? He was Ric Flair. He started out working for Vern Gagne in 1972. What? Or do you mean what do you mean by that?
Well, your fans, if you've got any fans, tell them to read my book if they're inclined, and if you think it's worth it, then fine. But since you don't think it's worth much, then they probably.
I didn't say it wasn't worth much. I said it's an interesting perspective, but I was just
talking about the expert.
I'm just asking you. I'm just pointing out. You said that they were so stupid to pay Ric Flair that money, but if they didn't, he was going to leave. And
who cares?
Who cares? Who cares? It's going to. If you lose all your stars, you're not going to have a company.
Wait a minute. You just got through telling me that you thought that Ray Stevens was great, but eventually he had to go.
That's true. But once you had national competition, the game changed. The game changed completely. Any final comments? Because we've got about 2 minutes to go in the show.
Yeah, like my book or don't like my book, probably a good idea for some of your people to read it. Maybe somebody will get something out of it.
Oh, I think everyone will get something out of it.
You didn't.
Yeah, I got your perspective on things.
You didn't. It's Dave Meltzer on Dave Meltzer.
Okay, all right.
You're almost as bad as me, except I was worth something.
Oh, okay, all right.
Come on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, Ric Flair is wonderful.
I didn't say that, but Ric Flair...
56, and Hulk Hogan can't draw a dime, and Ric Flair can't either, but they're still working. That's good.
Yeah, but they had tremendous careers.
Yes, sure they did. Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
And Randy Savage had a tremendous career.
Ric Flair, the world champion.
What? Randy Savage had a tremendous career, too.
Oh, yeah. He's wonderful.
Well, I'm just making a point. You
aren't making a point.
I don't begrudge that a lot of people were able to earn a lot of money in wrestling. I mean, there are times I wish that wrestling hadn't changed, but it did. But that doesn't mean that the guys who were the top stars of today are not super talented performers at what they do.
Is it possible for you not to be speaking for just a second?
Go ahead.
Your opinion is different than what you put across as fact. When you say that Randy, whatever the heck you think he is, that's your opinion.
I know I'm saying he was successful. I didn't even say he was a great worker, although at times he was.
I don't care about a great worker.
Okay.
Tex McKenzie wasn't a great worker either.
Okay, true. He definitely wasn't. Okay.
All right. Dusty Rhodes wasn't a great worker, but we drew money with him.
That's right. And Hulk Hogan wasn't a great worker, and Vince McMahon drew money with him.
The match that you see Ric Flair have today is the one that you saw him have 10 years ago, which is the match you'll have him see tomorrow.
Yeah?
He's got one match, and that's it.
But
that's why, in my opinion, there's an awful lot to be desired. If he's still able to go out there and wrestle and draw money, then fine. That's all that counts. Being a good worker, that's your...
Okay. We are gone.